teach these kids how to do basic stuff.
Like home ec gone, automotive, wood shop. Those classes are, gone.
It's crazy.
Like and those are practical knowledge that, wood would be great, especially if you become a homeowner or something, you know?
Or like if you're going to force kids to do something, force them to do debate or conversational classes, real estate.
It's just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
What's going on? Just living the dream, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, dope setup, by the way. So this is where you do all your workshopping, huh?
Thank you. Yeah, this is my bat cave. You see the arcades back there, right?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of arcades in the back. I have an entire apparel section, embroidery machines, t-shirt presses, hat presses, and then on the front side, closer over here, I've got 3D printer, laser, a bunch of other stuff. And then I'm building, which is it's not complete yet, but it's gonna be like a storage slash. I've got those smart boards, like a giant iPad.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I got a good deal on a couple of those, and so that's going to be there. So during any education stuff, I can actually just, do things here also.
Yeah, that's a great idea, buddy.
But yeah, no, I like you had kids, but I got kicked out of the house. So I used to have a loft upstairs, and we needed an extra bedroom. So the loft got enclosed and became a bedroom, and my garage became my man cave.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm a huge Batman fan, so I definitely I can appreciate the Batcave. You can't see this all off camera, but I have all types of Batman gear just all over the place. So
same here.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, tell me a little bit about. I'm going to link everything up below in the episode notes for people just listening, and then if you're watching on YouTube, of course, I'll throw up your social media handles and all that. But tell me a little bit about the university and kind of what the goal is, and how you started this thing, why you started it, all that jazz.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been doing media related stuff, photography, video, graphics, audio, web, since '97. So it's been a while. I'm going on my 28th year, right? That's what it comes out to this year.
Yeah.
So I've been both in front of the camera and behind the camera for years. I actually started on stage when I was younger, a lot of performances. I was a big writer, so I wrote a couple plays that got produced. That was pretty awesome.
Cool.
And, some short films, things like that. And it just kind of evolved, learning, because all I do is learn more. I mean, like constantly. My free time, I'm learning something at all times. I have to stay busy for my mind to work properly. So I'm always learning something new. And so, from in front of the camera to behind the camera, started learning all the, camera stuff. That led me a lot into education and training. And I did education and training for the military for 9 years total.
Oh, cool.
And did a lot of the stuff. My dad was in the military. My oldest daughter's in the military. I just worked for them. So nice little government contract for a while, almost a decade.
That's awesome.
Did a medical executive education and training. That's teaching doctors how to talk to their patients and to become better business people.
Oh, cool.
Like, it's so funny because a lot of those lessons just really seemed juvenile, but I guess
a lot of people,
doctors don't know how to talk to people sometimes, right?
Common sense ain't that common. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So and then from there, I went to I was working for a big oral surgeon, and he teaches all over the world, and I helped him create a bunch of content. He's got a big practice in Trinity, Florida.
Sure.
And where dental surgeons from all over the world come and see. He's got literally it's practice, and then it's a theater. Literally, I mean, a huge screen. He converted a bank into his school. It's amazing. I mean, it truly is amazing.
Yeah.
But so I mean, the big thing, like where Learn More came from, totally was I have 4 kids total, right? So I've got 2 older ones. I've got a 20, a 19, and then we restarted the clock 13 years later and had a little girl and a little boy. So I'm closed shop on the boy, right? So finally got my little man.
Nice.
And so the 2 oldest, I mean, it was a big trying to be the best dad, like all the information, all the things that they needed to learn, good values, normal stuff, car stuff, house stuff, I learned a good portion of, my things from my dad, of course.
Yeah.
And still I'm 44 today, and I still call him. He only lives 8 miles away. And so he's like, "Hey Dad, how do I,"
Cool.
and so
That's cool.
that's a big one. And I mean, how many times do you say to yourself or anybody else is like, "Man, I really wish I would have learned this in school."
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, all the time.
That's one of the biggest phrases, right? Like, "Oh man, I wish I would, balance a checkbook." Even that, like, most of the stuff's online now, but you still got to know how to do things, And so as I've worked with so many people throughout the years and built all these relationships, I started just collecting information from them, anybody that was, relevant to the cause, and then meeting new people along the way and finding new people now. So my faculty grows every single month. And we started just putting all these things together and building an online platform that's going to be web-based and mobile, completely mobile, dedicated custom mobile app. And it's going to have lessons from, literally everything, automotive to, there's going to be mental health. We have a lot of mental health specialists on there. That's a big one nowadays, right?
That's cool. Yeah.
We are going to have an entire parenting section, because that's something that doesn't seem to exist too. Is, kids having kids all the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do they get, that extra boost and know-how to give their kids a chance,
For sure.
And just, there's going to be that. We're going to have nutrition. We have health and wellness. We have fitness. We have self-defense. I'm actually shooting a big course in my living room. We're going to shoot it on green screen. Self-defense course. This one's actually situational awareness. It's not teaching you how to beat anybody up. It's teaching you how to avoid problems. You know what I mean? Like looking for your exits, things like that. All the stuff that you just should know.
That's awesome.
That guy is a big, he was a bodyguard for some U.S. diplomats in Israel. So like he's 007. It's pretty awesome. So I'm happy to have him. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
So that's where it is, where it came from, and the major plan.
Yeah. No, it sounds great, man. I think that's one thing that, my wife and I have talked about in particular about just overall. I think the education system itself has declined,
Of course,
over the years. And I think a lot of that has to do with there is so much information out there. So like you said, it's kind of, I don't want to say easy to get your information, but information's so much more accessible. And a lot of the things that we learned, at least I'm almost 40. A lot of things I learned in school, I don't remember now.
Right. A good portion of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I learned through trial and error, through networking, through talking to other people, from YouTube, from watching videos, just in the past 10, 15 years, I've learned so much there that I'm actually applying to my daily life. And, the challenge, which it sounds like you're fixing, which is refreshing. The challenge to me, I think, with YouTube which is why I've created a podcast course to teach people how to start a podcast. And the feedback I get is great, because a lot of people want to start a podcast, but if you Google how to start a podcast on YouTube, it's like a rabbit hole, man. There's so much information. So what I've done, and it sounds like kind of what you did, is I've condensed, obviously my thing's not elaborate, but I've condensed the course into 10 videos. They're 5 minutes each, and they're just fun. They're just fun videos on step-by-step what you have to do to start a podcast. So obviously there's a price attached to it, but you got to think to yourself, well, what's the value of that, right? Like, am I going to pay Tony and listen to his course?
Right.
Right. And then it takes the research out of me. Right. So I don't have to do anything. I just, one-time fee, I watch the course, and then I get the information. And I think that's kind of the best way to consume stuff, because you do run into this thing where there's too much information out there and there's so many people and you don't know who's an expert and who isn't. So if you had all the time in the day to take, like the guy you were saying about self-defense, okay, well, how many people do you have to research to find that guy? A lot.
Right.
So if I'm like just a regular Joe Schmo and I want to learn how to do self-defense, I could watch a lot of YouTube videos, but who's an expert? I don't know. Then I would have to do that research to find out who the expert. It's like, we don't have all the time to do this stuff. Right. So it's cool to hear, and it's very refreshing that, something that you're doing here, which I think a lot of people should be doing, is just finding courses or finding companies or universities like yourself to really, condense things for us, because it's a lot of stuff out there, man. And we need some avenue that's going to teach us life lessons that are actually important for the last 40, 50 years of our life. I don't need, like, school. I always said this to my buddies, where like school, pre-K, K through 6, that type of stuff is good for the now.
Of course.
Like it's good. It's good when I'm learning that stuff. I'm learning it for the now.
Right.
I know how to. 2 + 2 is 4. I know that now. I can use that in my daily life now. But really, high school should be preparing me to leave high school
for life. Yeah.
And it should be a life school. You know, I don't need to learn AP physics and, you know, because what's happening is, what I found out is there's so many different courses that we take in school. Like, I just use physics and chemistry as an example. Unless that's a passion of yours, and you should know that. Yeah, you should know that pretty quick. Like, you should know that going into, when you're a freshman, you know, you're 14, 15 years old. You should have an idea of, like, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a professional wrestler. Like, you probably have a good idea. It might be a stupid idea, but you're a kid. You got to figure these things out. So, like, high school is supposed to point you in the right direction. But what's so funny is they have these, like, blanket courses like physics and chemistry. So, like, Tony, if, you know, we're in physics, and we're in physics, and we don't give a shit about physics. So now we're just going to dick around with our friends. We're going to hang out. We're not going to really focus on So eventually, even if I was to become a physics major in college, I'm a shitty physics major. We don't need more shitty professors. We don't need shitty engineers or shit. Like, I want people that want to be a doctor and want to spend 10 years in school for it. Don't force me to learn that stuff if I don't want to be passionate about it, you know, like, so that's the funny thing with school now, is because I think before, you know, back in the 50s, there was only like 12 jobs. It was like, you know, engineer, manufacturer, coal miner, fucking work at Ford's, right? Like, work on the line, building cars. Like, there's not a lot, but now there's infinite amount of career paths. You cannot jam that into high school. So you have to figure out what people are passionate about. And you have to tailor courses around what people like. Don't force courses on them, right?
See, that was one of the things the investors asked was, you know, like, what separates you? Because, like you said, YouTube. I mean, YouTube University. You know, I still go to it. I mean, all the time. You know, if there's just something quick, it's just an easy way to do it. You know, so how do we differ? How do we differ? Well, our biggest thing, of course, is all the content is for this demographic. You know, it's the teenagers. You know, 16 to 20-ish, right? Like, that's the market. However, anybody like us, we can go on there and we can still learn things. You know, I mean, anybody can learn it. There's tons of stuff we just still don't know. You don't know what you don't know, so know more would learn more, right? Like, that's what we say, because there's just so much information. Then you go to YouTube, like you said, you know, you click on one video and you're watching it for a little bit, and then a cat video comes up and you watch that cat video, and then this other video comes up and you watch this video. You know, now you just wasted 10 hours of your life. Yeah, you know, and you forget about all the important stuff. What you were looking for. Yeah, that's right. You know, exactly. Yeah, I've been there. So you know, our goal, the way we have it set up, is it's more, I'll say, the Netflix model, to where, like, while you're watching something, it's going to make suggestions, but it's going to make suggestions relevant to what you're doing. So if you're learning yoga stuff, right, it's going to say, hey, let's try out this paleo diet, or hey, let's try out, you know, some vegan meals, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Everything's going to be relevant to what they're watching. You know, so hopefully it's going to suggest people to keep them on there. And then the beauty of it also is we plan on every single month, you know, new content's going to be added. There's certain stuff like our finance 101 that'll be there forever, because it's, like you said, it's basic education. You know what I mean? Like, you know, how does credit work? You know what I mean? Things like that. But then we're going to evolve from there. Like, okay, you've got a couple bucks. What's a good way to invest these money properly? You know, you know, buy property, you know, stocks, bonds, you know, CDs, 401ks. I mean, things that you don't know. Yeah, that's great. In the beginning. So that's the rabbit hole we want you to go down, is to, when you're done, you're just a better person after the fact. You know? Yeah, that's so great. And, you know, a lot of people don't have the patience to deal with that type of stuff, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that I even know that don't even know what they want to do with their lives, you know, and they're in their 30s and 40s. And that's not a bad thing, I don't think. I don't think it's a bad thing that you don't have it figured out at 30 or 40. You know, I was reading something fascinating the other day where Harrison Ford was a carpenter up until the age of 30. Right, just before the Star Wars. Yeah. Right. And then he hit it big, obviously. So it's like, he just got started at 30, and now he's, you know,
arguably probably one of the most wealthy and famous celebrities on the planet. So
Colonel Sanders, what KFC was when he was like 71 or something.
That's right. You know? That's very true. Yeah. And even like, I could just stand on that rabbit hole. You know, I forget his name, but I think it's Ian McKinnon.
Yeah. The
actor.
Yeah.
So he was Gandalf.
Yeah.
And then Magneto, but like he got famous like at 75 or something.
Exactly.
And you know, now you don't see him in anything because he made probably so much money off that. He's like, I only got like 20 years left to live.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good. I don't need that. So yeah, it is interesting that we don't we kind of have this perception of like we have to figure it out in high school, but I do like that aspect where someone could just hop on there at any age and kind of learn things. Because even now, I mean, you and I were learning new things every day, and we want to learn things
all the time.
It kind of the same concept is like, I think as the years go on, like in another 10 years, what is the internet going to look like? Because the internet is only getting bigger because we're putting more information out there, more content out there. So, you know, I don't know the number, but I think it's in the millions of pieces of content every single day that goes on YouTube. So it's like, yeah, you think to yourself, imagine in 10 years, like it's going to be, you know, you're not going to be able to find anything.
Like there's a Apple Vision Pro. That's what like dude, the videos that are out there right now. Yeah. Like, you know, to me, it's still like, I can't do it. I can't engulf myself. My son, my 5-year-old, he loves it. He thinks that I don't have the real one. I have the Oculus or whatever. And it's just, I mean, his world, he just, you know, he loves it, but I'm not there yet. That's the only one, you know, is all these products that I'm definitely not an early adopter, but I mean, could you see that? You know, like, I mean, I could see that learning. Could you imagine like looking into your motor, you know, and it plugged in and it told you what the problem is. And now you can dissect the motor in your vision, you know? Oh my God.
Yeah. That to me, I think is probably the future. That'll be, if we can use technology that way, I think that'll be more beneficial than what's going on right now with the Apple Vision Pro, because I see a lot of, especially being in a content creator space, there's a lot of creators that I follow that are using the Apple Vision Pro to like edit on the screen, and they're making like Premiere Pro, which is their editing software. They're making that like a 90-inch screen. And I'm looking at that like, listen, man, that is fantastic. And it's great that you could see all that. But also we know now that your glasses, if you wear prescription glasses like I do, you have to get blue light protection in there, because we know that screens are horrible for our eyes and our cognitive function. So now you're just strapping on this fucking metal device and you're making it 90 inches big and you're on it all day. Like,
you know, I was telling you about those big touchscreens, right? Like I've got a big 70-inch smart panel there, right? And of course my little ones, the 5 and she'll be 7 this Friday. So 5 and almost 7, they go up there and they, you know, clicking stuff and playing learning games and all this other stuff. And their older sisters are like, you used to tell us to get away from the TVs because it was going to hurt our eyes, you know? That's kind of
now
truth.
It's 10 times the size. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's so true. And, you know, it's even more wild that you think about like just from like an evolutionary standpoint. We don't know that this is going to be bad for us until it's too late.
Right.
Like, you know, we know phones now are bad for us. Like, you know, and to get a little dark, especially as a father now, I think about this a lot, to where the birth of social media, which specifically was Facebook and MySpace back 20-something years ago now.
Right.
And you can look at the correlation, the graph between Facebook being invented versus suicide rates, specifically in girls and teenage girls. And the correlation's fascinating because the suicide rate goes up as social media becomes more prevalent to our lives. So is it a coincidence? I mean, you know, we'll never know. But the bottom line is, when you look at like Vision Pro or Oculus or these type of things, again, we're not going to know the effect cognitively until our kids are 40 years old. Right. And we're like, oh shit, we made a mistake back in 2024. We shouldn't have done this. But it's too late at that point. So it's just one of those things.
It's Neuralink.
And there's Neuralink, right? Although that to me, I feel a little bit more safer, if I'm being honest, because at least I'm not looking at a screen.
Right.
So my brain is the screen, and I
Right.
think it's, you know, if it's something along the lines of like it makes me like Bradley Cooper and Limitless, I'm down for it.
Oh, of course. Could you
You
imagine
know?
AI like that, a chat DBC plugged into your brain?
Come on.
Like if
Come
typing
on.
it's not fast enough. Come on. Yeah, for real.
And I look like a huge positive because then I don't have time now to spend time with friends or family because I'm focusing so much on work. But if I could
Right.
work faster and smarter and not so harder, and you know, I'm freaking going nuts like Bradley, and then now I have more free time to spend with friends and family because I'm getting my work done early. So it's like overall
Yeah.
versus like you look at the phone is more like a big freaking drug. I mean, that's what it is. It's a drug. It's like a dopamine hit that you're getting every time, and it's so addicting. But the cool
Right.
thing I think about the neural link in like 5-10 years when they figure it out is like I don't think it'll be addicting. It'll just be your life. It'll be like it's like your Apple Watch. You don't think about wearing it. You don't look at your Apple Watch and scroll TikTok. It's just part of your attire. It's part of your thing. You don't think about it. So I think that'd be the cool thing about it is it would kind of delegate the important things that I would use a lot of
Right.
time for, and it would take care of those things faster, so that way I have more hours in the day. Now, of course, it could blow up and, you know, instantly kill me, but that's the risk I think I'm willing to take.
Oh, but by then we'll know. Like,
Yeah,
when it's available at Walmart.
yeah, we'll know when it's available at Walmart. Yeah, they'll definitely have to put that in the clear plastic cases for sure. That'll have to be locked down. But yeah, it is kind of scary, man, to be a new father and to have to worry about all this stuff. You know, I know you've dealt with it, so it's second nature for you, I'm sure, at this point. But
Well, twice now, you know, because the older ones grew up at the end of DVDs and stuff, you know, so they still understood things. On demand wasn't really around, you know.
Right.
I mean, on demand was Redbox, you know,
sure,
or you know, the end of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video kind of stuff.
that's right.
The new ones, I mean, they're in such high demand for on demand. Like, you know, it's hard to even satisfy it sometimes. Like the you know, I'll show them an old movie or something. If I dare bring out a DVD or VHS, it's like, you know, well, no, I want this scene now. You know, I want this thing now, and so just that you know, 13 years difference between them, 2 different lives. You know, like they talk to Alexa all the time. You know, they talk to Google all the time. You know, they on their Fire Stick, you know, and I mean, at 5 and 6, I mean,
that's crazy.
You know, they breeze through the iPad, and it's intuitive to them. They just know how to do it.
Yeah. And what age, if you don't mind me asking, did you have your kids have their own devices?
So it was earlier than usual, but it was like, you know, cheap flip phones or whatever, something, you know, not smart device, just a phone in case of emergency, stuff like that. You know, like Nokias or whatever from back in the day.
Sure.
They didn't get smart devices. They got their first iPhones in 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
But now the new one, and she's just right over the bridge. We have a bridge that connects the neighborhoods, and she's had one since kindergarten. And the reason I did that though was, you know, it's like a tracker, so it's always in her bag, stuff like that. Sure. Now that she's getting older and in school, everybody's saying to look stuff up. You know, I do find myself monitoring. You know, like a lot more than, you know, not that I should, because there's never enough. But you know, and then blocking things like hers. She had an Android at first, and it was harder to keep track of certain things. Now that she's on Apple and we're all on Apple, I can even change things from my phone. You know, so like she can't download, she can't uninstall. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, cool. Before even thinking of that, it was like game.
Of course, yeah.
And they all have ads, you know, and that's the bad part, you know. So like, you know, the show question stuff. Oh, this took me here, or this did this, and so I was like, okay, it's time to start, blocking all that stuff.
Blocking it, yeah. And you know, that's the hard thing too. Like I'm realizing, that you know we're obviously going to do what we can to have her not have a phone as early as possible, but it's challenging because every parent has to agree with that. Right. Like that's like, you know, I have a couple of buddies that have kids that are, you know, 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're getting their own iPad. And, you know, be that as it may, I don't know what the right or wrong is. I'm no expert. But the challenge that I see though is when you go to school, kids are getting influenced more so through their peers than they are their parents because they're spending 6-7 hours with their friends. So it's like if you're a parent, let's say that, doesn't want your kid to, I don't know, have sugar, but then 25 other kids in their class bring Doritos and Kit Kats for lunch. It's like, now you're the asshole parent. Now your kid's coming back saying, well, 25 of my students are making fun of me. So it's like, do you want your kid to get made fun of, or, do you cave in? Like, how bad is it? How bad is sugar for a 5-year-old? Well, the answer is bad, but the challenge is like, what do you do? It's like you have to get into a school where parents kind of share that same interest. I feel like, or homeschool, which is probably what we're going to shoot for more so than anything.
What I found was just, education again. What I mean, like explaining, exactly. That too much of anything is a bad thing. So to where they, they crave it because they're going to crave it because they're there. They want their McDonald's and stuff like that, but they know they're not going to get it every day because it's not great. Right. So like my oldest of the little ones, she's good. Like if she has a pack of candy, she'll take a couple cans. You know what I mean?
Right.
My son's a little more.
Yeah.
It's in front of his face.
Boys always are. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's even that. I mean, that's a great point too. Is everything in moderation, educating them. But I think it was who was it? I want to say it was like maybe Jennifer Gardner or something. She was reading a book and she was saying something when she got interviewed, and she was like, because her kids don't have I think they're almost teenagers now. They don't eat processed foods or sugar or have devices. And someone interviewed her and asked her, how do you do it? Like, how do you get them to do that without hating you? And she goes, well, it's simple. Every time they want to do something that their friends do, she says, okay, you can use my phone real quick, and I want you to look up and show me proof that that thing is good for you. So like, let's say if they're one McDonald's. Okay, show me an article that's backed up by science saying McDonald's is good for you, and I'll let you eat McDonald's. Same thing with phones. Show me an article that says social media and phones are good for you to consume before the age of 18. Show me an article and I'll let you have your own phone. Truth is, those articles don't exist.
Right.
Quite the contrary. Articles exist saying that McDonald's is bad for you and having a phone at the young age. So it's when they get old enough to understand that and be able to do it. You can't obviously say it to a 3-year-old. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. But I think as they get older, that's what's important. That's what I think we're going to try to do. And I hope a lot of parents do it. And I think parents are coming along, but it is just such a challenge because it's so part of our everyday lives. Like I'm even realizing that now with a 6-month-old where I have to like literally consciously take my phone and put it in another room because if I don't, I will literally scroll in front of her. Yeah. And I catch myself. I haven't done it in weeks, but especially when she was first born and she was like doing nothing but sleeping. I was bored, but then I'm also like, let me just watch her sleep. So eventually I had to consciously think to myself, let me put this away and let me do it. Because obviously if you do it, they're going to see you do it and
be present.
And they're going to mock you as well. But that is the challenge, right? Because you're on your emails, you're on your social media. I mean, it's just part of our lives so much. It's so hard to cut out. I will say though, the one good investment that I did, I don't know if you could tell, but these are Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
Oh, the ones with the camera on it?
Yeah, you can't even tell, right? But
that's awesome.
But they're prescription because I have prescription, and they're also transitional, so they're sunglasses when I go out in the sun. But this has been great because if I want to take a video or a photo, I'm just I just tell it to do it, and I don't have to grab my phone, so that way my daughter has no idea that I'm taking video, but also I'm videoing as well. And I'm really loving that type of content too because it's more POV.
Right.
But I'm starting to try to do that more now because it's kind of winging me off of, let me, hold on, smile. Like, it's that fucking phrase.
And then you got a message, and then you got to read that message, and then you're down another rabbit hole. We're talking about, just preparing them for life and whatnot. I actually wrote books. Like, this is my daughter. Her favorite food is pizza, but in the book, we actually teach her to try other foods. Like there's broccoli and vegetables, but the pizza is
so great.
Showing her all over the world or all over the, and I mean, like fish. We're talking about seafood.
Oh, that's
You know?
amazing.
And so, of course, at the end of the book, she just comes and flat out says, but I still really love my pizza. So because that's,
Yeah,
that's
the message. Yeah.
Then my son, same thing. I wrote one for him because he's got a little bit of behavior issues. He's working on them now.
Yeah.
He had a big seizure a couple days before his 3rd birthday, and life kind of changed after that. He's become aggressive and all. So we're treating him for a couple of things. We actually have a big appointment tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully, help, because, and then a big thing from that was the medication that he takes for his seizures actually not helped, excuse me, wrong word. He's gained weight from it, so he has a little bit of a self-esteem issue at such a young age, especially, but same is about behavior, but it was, controlling his emotions and things like that.
Oh, wow.
But so, sometimes I don't know what to show them or how to tell, like there he goes raging out,
That's so cool.
but so now they have this, little memory.
That's kind of like, did you just make that for yourself or do you sell those?
They're on Amazon.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they? That's so cool.
Both,
man.
they're both on
Yeah.
Amazon. I have them under the KDP stuff. So the Kindle direct printing. And it's just there, a bunch of family and friends have bought it and whatnot. It wasn't to make $1 million. It was honestly for them. So,
yeah. That's such a great message though. And I think it's more cool because it adds that level of fame to it as well.
Right.
Where they're in the book. I mean, that's kind of awesome. Yeah. And, little things like that, like whether it's finding these different ways to educate ourselves or whether it's books or like podcasts, obviously has been a huge medium for me. Not only do I host a podcast, I just love consuming podcasts. And there's actually been a really cool, just speaking of like the topic of like kind of getting outside your comfort zone, is there's a lot of people can't consume books or podcasts. It's just sometimes they think they're boring or maybe you just don't have time for it. Well, I like to work out and go for walks and runs, but like music, but music is always the best, right? Like, have you ever been on have you been on like a walk or a run, like dead silence or listening to a podcast? It's like, you don't want this walk to continue. It's so boring. So, but there's this app, I think it's available everywhere actually. It's called Podbeat. Have you heard of this?
It puts it to music.
You should download this. If you like podcasts, you should download this. So it's Podbeat. It's on Apple Store and Google Store. But you listen to a podcast, you open up the app, you pick any genre of beat, and immediately, boom, it goes with that podcast. So if it's like EDM, let's say you want to pick EDM, you do that. So it goes over the podcast track. It's pretty cool, man. So that way it almost keeps it keeps the beat going with your podcast, and it makes a podcast interesting. And there's tons of other music like you can do. There's a funky track. If you want something a little bit less EDM-y, there's rock, there's hip hop. I mean, there's all types of instrumental stuff. But it's little things like that. I'm realizing whether it's Podbeat or whether it's figuring out what apps I'm actually using.
Right.
I'm clearing out my phone to only have apps that are beneficial. Things like Podbeat, I know if I have on my phone, I'm going to listen to a podcast. And if it's 30 minutes or an hour long podcast, I'm learning something, but if I have like Minecraft and Candy Crush and all that, it's like, I'm just going to be playing Candy Crush all day. So I need to delete that shit. So that's one thing I'm really trying to do in 2024 is get more productive, apps on my phone and stuff. So,
hey, well, I mean, that's what we're trying to do is have one of those productive apps. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you are going to be, wasting time, at least you're wasting that time learning something. You know what I mean?
Something. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And do you guys have the app launch now? Or are you still looking for?
No, the right now, I had some investors that were helping. I don't know, if they're really going to be completely interested in stuff. So I actually built a Indiegogo campaign that I'm going to launch this week. Because I'm at a point now where I can't do much more without more money. You know what I mean? Sure. Fortunately, 100% of all the faculty that I have signed on for free so far. And it's awesome because they believe in the product. They believe in me. We've had our relationships. So that's amazing. So, nothing has been paid out towards them. A good portion of it has been myself, creating things. Like, fortunately, I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of equipment. So I can do a lot of this on my own, production wise. Sure. The platform is set. It's ready to be fulfilled now.
Good.
So, but again, financing. So once I can hit a certain point, hopefully it'll be self-sustaining and just continue to grow from there. But,
Nice.
you know, the audience is huge. There's 15.2 million high school students in the United States. So, you know, our goal with that is 2% of that. 2% of that's 306,000. So 306,000 enrollments. That's our, you know, bread and butter. That's what we want, you know, and but I mean, still at 15.2 and what it is, I mean, because you look at the numbers for things like masterclass, you know, like they do. I have the numbers here. It's crazy. Where is it? Where are you?
Yeah, and what's wild, just why you look for that, what's wild about the masterclass in particular is it's every specific subject that you would want. But what's ironic is most of those subjects, they don't teach in school.
No.
So so typically, like masterclass are targeting people that are our age, most likely. Right. But by that time, it's like you've already raced 15 years. You know, like what's cool about what you guys are doing is if you could target that younger demographic and you get them before they hit their 20s, 30s, 40s, I mean, that could, you're talking about shifting thousands of people and just making better humans, making less losers. I mean, that's how we can all be a better country.
Yeah, that's the goal for the paid enrollees, you know, because it'll be subscription based monthly. People can cancel any time type of deal. You can buy, you know, multiple months at once. But one of the big, you know, challenges, again, you know, these things that come up during the investment meetings is how do you, again, when I was saying, you know, you don't know what you don't know, how do you tell a kid they need this, you know, because right now they don't care, you know, so obviously our target's going to probably change a little bit more towards the parents, you know, like, hey, graduation's coming up, you know, instead of spending $300 on XYZ, get them an entire year, you know, of this, and this, you know, knowledge is the one thing that can't be taken away from you. You know, their car can get repoed when the payments stop, you know, so like these are big things. So, you know, we are going to push towards the parents and grandparents and stuff like that. And plus big social media pushes. We're going to have, there's going to be a huge affiliate program. So where all these influencers can go on, have their special link, make a couple bucks off of each enrollment, but it's going to be that social, you know, validation. That's big. So for all these people to come on there like, hey man, you know, I just learned how to, you know, whatever. Yeah. You know, did you know the door in your oven comes off to clean it? Like, you know, these are the things and hopefully push. But look, I pulled up the masterclass. I mean, it's 9.3 million visits a month.
Wow. That's madness.
That's madness. You know, and that's masterclass. And it says their annual revenue over $200 million. You know, it's just.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And, I mean, Udemy, 99.2 million visitors a month. You know, and that's cheaper education, but still 99 million people.
That's a lot, dude.
Like these numbers are huge. So the potential for, you know, to get out there is just huge. And then, you know, one of the things we want to do on a philanthropic push also is my goal is, you know, for instance, we started day one, right? Today, 6 months from now, I plan on making a nonprofit version that I want to help. A lot of my clients are actually inner city, you know, type youth, you know, trying to help people get their lives straight and stuff like that. The foster care system, one of their big things is when they turn 18, you get aged out of foster care and you're just kind of on your own. I mean, not even just kind of. You turn 18 and it's like, here's a blanket, a backpack, have a good life, right? So now we put the nonprofit version of Learn More to these people, and every kid that's aging out gets this course for free. You know what I mean? Like, let's really prepare them. They already had a shitty life. Like, let's help them, you know, up here so they become better people in society, so they can learn, you know, to do things properly in the right way and not have to depend on others so much. And, you know, just that boost that a lot of them just need. Yeah. You know,
that's great, man.
And so that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. It's such a good cause, man. And I think, you know, you're going about it the right way. And, you know, when you put this thing available for crowdfunding and, you know, you put this out on the site, I think you're going to do big things. So
I mean, that's a, you know, fingers crossed in every way, you know, for every reason in the world, you know, and it's just, it's it's hopefully life changing to a lot of people. I mean, because you imagine just being like, just that, you know, where you don't feel you have support and stuff, and you find that, you know, within there, and then not even the mental health stuff. Like, I mean, you may stumble on something that person, you know, just changed your mind there, but also some finance, you know, you just, wow, you know, I can do this, you know, this isn't that difficult. You know, I really wish my math class started talking about how to crunch the numbers a little more, how to budget, you know, how to pay my lease. Yeah.
And I mean, you know, hopefully this, you know, I don't know if your goal is this, but to me, it's fascinating to think that hopefully if you can blow this thing up, which you will, but depending on when you could do it, you blow this thing up to where it needs to be, it'll start kind of shaking the education system. Because I think that is kind of the challenge right now, in my opinion, is like you're fighting up against like a lot of people, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's almost like if people need to start shifting their mindset a little bit. And I think it's starting to happen. But when they look at school and say, there's a lot of pros to school, but there's a lot of cons. There's a lot of cons to school. And one of them in particular is not setting up our kids for success by teaching them. Yeah.
COVID, big time.
Big time. Yeah. So COVID definitely hurt for sure. Especially when you look at like kids, you know, staring at screens and they're listening to their teachers ramble on about the same bullshit that they would hear in class. Again, nothing is going to benefit them. They actually would learn more by taking off their mask and going out in the real world during COVID than they would staying at home listening to a teacher on a laptop, because the teacher didn't want to be there. I used to get videos from buddies of mine that had to homeschool their kids, and that teacher just hated their life for good reason. They don't get paid enough anyway. But it's like they hate their life. They're trying to teach on a laptop. They don't know if anybody's paying attention. They're looking at these Zoom calls like...
Turn your cameras on.
Yeah. There's no interaction, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's just... There's a lot of challenges up, and we just have to kind of change things. You look at like that system as a whole. I mean, I don't think they've changed the curriculum, like legit changed it. They've added things and taken away, but legit changed it in like 50 years. No. It's the same shit, you know, calculus and physics, and get the fuck out. Well, what are we doing here? Like, if you want to be in the STEM department, you learn that stuff in you learn that stuff like later in high school or college.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But teach these kids how to do basic stuff. Well, anyway.
Home ec gone. Automotive, you know, wood shop. Those classes are, you know, gone.
It's crazy.
Like those are practical knowledge that, you know, wood would be great, especially if you become a homeowner or something, you know?
Or like if you're going to force kids to do something, force them to do debate or, you know, conversational classes, or teaching them, you know, like real estate. You know, like I'd even be open-minded to like charity work, you know, forcing kids to get out and meet people and look at underprivileged areas and, you know, help people go to other schools and see how shitty other schools have it versus your school. There's so many things that we could do to educate kids on the real world, because that is the problem, right? Is like you're stuck in these four walls and you're getting taught this stuff, and then you get out of those four walls and you're like, whoa, bro, this is way different than what, you know, Miss Schleckaball told me. Like, I mean, it's like, we got to prepare these kids, man. And as the world gets more and more dangerous, like the world is not safer than what it was 20 years ago. It's more dangerous now because of social media, and, you know, there's more predators, there's more bullshit, there's more virus, there's more everything.
I had my identity stolen in October, and I always thought never me, because, you know, I've got the VPNs and all this other stuff, and, you know, I changed my passwords and all these things, and they got everything, driver's license, passport, bank accounts, they got everything.
Were you able to know how?
I don't see how it happened. I get notifications now, and I have, you know, like Life Alert, or it was the Identity Works by Experian, TransUnion, or whatever, which one? One of them. Yeah. And it was telling me, hey, your information was found on the dark web. And the next, you know, I get a whole bunch of stuff from Bank of America where I don't have an account, and a bunch of several $100,000 was funneled through the accounts with my name and my business. Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
It was a nightmare for a couple months, and then like disappeared. So I don't even know the outcome yet. Like, okay, well, now what? I mean, hopefully I'm not, and not hopefully, but I haven't been liable for anything. Yeah. You know, which is great. But I mean, I'm pretty safe. I thought, you know, I don't click on random stuff, and things like that. So where it came from, I don't know, but I mean, they got a lot. They got a lot.
You just never know.
You just never know.
Ugh, terrible.
You don't. But those are things that that need to be taught also, because I mean, to prepare yourself.
That's
you know
right.
how to do your passwords the right way.
That's right.
What sites to stay off of. Or if you get something that looks weird, like something as simple like when you get an email and it's from PayPal, right? But it's like PayPal.something US 9356.com.
Yeah.
Don't click it.
Yeah.
It's not from PayPal.
Yeah. I get all these, especially because of the line of work I'm in. I get all these emails, which is crazy, where it's like it'll have the Meta logo.
Yeah.
It'll have, right, the Meta email and the Meta footer at the bottom of the email, their address, their company in Silicon Valley. Like they are looking good, these scammers. And they'll say, hey, unfortunately the post that you just put up can't be monetized because of XYZ reason. If you want to appeal this, click the link below. And I'm like, these motherfuckers, delete. But, because I get them so much, I kind of know what it is. But if I didn't know the business, if I was like a 55-year-old person, I would just click it and be like, oh, no, my post got removed. Ooh, let me click. Yeah. So it's, we got to teach these.
Like that I questioned. I was like, wait. Should I? And I was like, no. This isn't. And then, you do a little bit of research and you find a typo or you find a weird extension or something. You're like, damn, man.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
All those Nigerian princes, just they're loaded.
just sitting back waiting for you, bud. Yeah. Well, listen, Tony, man, we're almost at an hour. I can't believe it. Time's flying.
Hey, for real. We're having fun, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But I definitely want to do this again for sure, and we'll book some more time. Maybe we could do this in person.
No,
be cool. Do you have like a studio, or is that just your back cave? Do you do podcasts in a specific spot, or you got like a table set up?
I can set up anywhere for anything.
Okay. No, I was just curious because I know you got a lot of space back there. It looks like.
Yeah. It's decent.
I mean, it's a back cave. What do you expect?
Exactly. I mean, like the short film I did a long time ago, probably almost 30 years ago. I had to create a cave, and I used foam from mattresses from a mattress store. They donated a ton of foam and literally carved it all out and used spray paint and stuff. Came out beautiful. I got to see if I can find pictures. I'll show you. I want to do that in here. I want to put like pieces of cave coming out of the ceiling and stuff.
That would be radical, dude. Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, of course, just to have it. Yeah. But listen, Tony, do me a favor. One more time. I'm going to leave it all in the episode notes for people just listening. But for the viewers out there, let us know where they could find Learn More University, your social media, your website, all that jazz, so they can check it out.
Yeah, right now everything will be on learnmoreuniversity.com. The learnmoreuniversity.com will take you to the Indiegogo till the campaign's done. Like I said, it should start this week. It'll end in 60 days. So the end of, what's that, April, right? Mid-April?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, about April. And then, hopefully but it will transition to the actual site from there. And then as far as all the socials, everything is at Learn More University. It's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Okay.
I don't know if we're on X. I didn't want X.
Come on. I refuse to call it that.
I know, right? X.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Tony, for sure, man. And I'll definitely stay on after I kill the recording here. We'll chat some more. But it's been good having you on the show, and best of luck, man. I know you're going to do great, dude. So just keep it up.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gents, everyone go check out learnmoreuniversity.com. Later.